shared value, income equality, innovation, hunger, poverty, leadership, handouts, dignity. Now, these are just a few thoughts that are going through my mind today. And they may seem a lot, but there's a reason to it. And a reason that we all know, because we've heard them so many times before. However, it is still the reality of today. Now, Martin Luther King said, "Our lives begin to end the day we are silent about the things that matter." So I would like to start with talking about the things that matter, that happen today, right now. 1/3 of the world population lives in hunger. 1.2 billion people still live under less than $1.25 a day. 1.2 trillion of aid has gone in Africa alone for the past 50 years. And every week, 1.5 million people flee their rural villages into urban cities to find their fortune. Not because they want to, but because they need to out of necessity to survive. Now, these facts can be quite overwhelming, especially when you realize that we're talking about individuals like you and I, or the person sitting next to you. But they don't have the opportunity or the chance, or they don't have the capacity to change the social and economic conditions in their village. And it is frustrating. In Sub-Saharan Africa, there's this massive amount, a significant economic potential, yet it is stifled by the lack of infrastructure, financial, legal, political infrastructure. Now, what I would like to do right now is go into history, because I believe that we can learn a lot from the past. Northern Europe in the 13th and 14th century faced a similar kind of challenge. Huge economic potential, yet to the frustration of the merchants, the opportunities to trade were curtailed by the lack of proper governance, by the lack of a proper ecosystem or network that enabled them to produce efficiently and exchange goods and services. So what did they do? In the 13th century, cities along the coast of the North Sea and the Baltic Sea combined forces and formed a Hanse League, a well-defined structure of cooperation which removed the obstacles to trade or economic strength. A well-organized structure of municipalities which created guilds and an enormous amount of wealth for 400 years. Now, something big may look small because it is far away in time in our case. This idea was huge 800 years ago, and I believe its time has come for rural Africa. By providing the infrastructure and the governance through business, thus creating economic value while simultaneously creating value for society by addressing its most pressing needs and challenges. And I believe we can do that through leadership, ownership, and dignity. So, how is it done? Now, villages incorporate their own village company, a municipal social enterprise which is self-managed, self-fundable, sustainable, and scalable. A village company has two functions. Now, it is a business, so like any other business, it creates and runs businesses that will also stimulate the economy, the local economy. Now, the second part, and this is the special part, the profits that they make through these businesses are put in a community-chosen social need. So the business acts like business, while at the same time taking care of society's needs. It's beautifully simple. It's an effective and efficient way to reduce poverty while at the same time taking care of healthcare or education. Now, the structure of a village company is as follows. We have the shares of the village company are broadly owned by the villagers. The villagers, they elect a board. The board elects and supervises a management team. The management team, in their turn, they are charged with building businesses around agriculture or animal husbandry. Now, this dual board structure is very important for many, many reasons. So, because the ownership of the village company is now broadly spread over the whole community. The community needs a good business because it provides jobs and wealth creation for all its citizens. But individual interests have to be aligned with mutual interests. And the legal structure of a business, of a company, is able to provide for that. Now, of course, a company needs investment, right? So the village companies are financed by a so-called macrocredit. Now, the village company can apply for a macrocredit, they go and build businesses, and then they make profit. And the profit goes into 3 areas. Now, the first one we now already know. So it goes into financing a social need that the villagers choose. 2, it goes into the growth of the village company through reinvestment and thus becoming more and more independent. And 3, to repay the macrocredit. Now, this is a beautiful example of shared value, an idea whose time has come. Shared value through social enterprise, private equity alignment of interests, dual board structure, transparency, accountability, broad ownership, while all the profits are only there to exclusively serve the community. Now, all these components are really not new, but how they are linked together in a village company structure is innovative for rural Africa. Now, when a village company is set up, all we do is train, train, train. We train on business excellence, we train on governance, we train on transparency, we train on accountability. We are the train they see coming through the tunnel. And they become the owners of the train. This is their vehicle to independence. Freedom from handouts and freedom from loan officers that charge exorbitant fees. And all the while, we enable and empower them to take care of themselves and their communities through leadership, ownership, and dignity, not only for today and tomorrow, but for the future. Now, let's see some of this in action, shall we? So starting seemingly small in 4 villages in rural Africa, Tanzania, in a Babati region. Now they have businesses that run from animal husbandry to agriculture, but it can also be in new technical skills as a construction company. So here's one of our village companies. No, these are not coffins that they are carrying. They are modern beehives. So they are in the honey business, but they also have a pig business. Now this village company wanted to expand. However, they also wanted to reduce costs. So what did they do? They went into a sunflower seed business, oil. Now, sunflower oil being in demand, but what did they do? They used the pulp of the sunflower seed to feed the pigs. Efficient, effective, and they came up with it themselves. Now, another village company is a construction company. Now, I love these guys. They are so proud of their construction company. If you are on their site, you have to see everything in detail to the last brick that they're making. Now, here they are making interlocking bricks, which reduce the amount of cement that is needed if you want to build a wall or a structure. But they also engage in fencing poles and fencing wire. Now, the beauty about this model is that the village companies do not have to compete, but they can work together. So say a village company wants to start a chicken farm, and the chicken farm needs a fence around it. So they engage with another village company, say, hey, I want some fencing around it. So then you get a created value of a network between village companies. And this clustering of village companies is very important because you create a new market, free, open market, and you can buy reliable products and for a fair price. Now here we just see one of the management team showing their financials. So this was the business side. So how about the social side? So one village company was able to renovate 6 classrooms in 3 schools by 1 profit. And now has said to engage into a renovation of a classroom for kids with special needs. That's pretty special. Now another village company has started to build a teacher's house. Now why did they do that? Now you can already hear that education, that the villagers understand that education is massively important, right? They choose this themselves. Now this teacher house is very interesting. Why? Because did you know there is an absence rate of 35% in schools? Not by the students, but by the teachers. So what did this village company do? They said, you know what, we're going to build a house next to the school, there, right there. You can't go anywhere else. That is what it is. And that is what I love about this model. They know their situation best. Nobody telling them what they need to do or what you need a school or you don't need a school, right? They know it themselves. It's their own village. But it doesn't only have to go into education. Right? It can go into an ambulance, a dispensary, into roads, into bridges. The potential is huge. Now we have a vision. Now imagine, just like the guilds of the Hanse cities, village companies are forming clusters, and each of them are providing a component of a house. So one makes doors, one makes bricks, and the other one makes the roofing. So together they can offer affordable housing for their residents. Now this is not an uncommon scene in rural Tanzania. So whilst the village companies are providing for a safe house for their residents, they engage in economic activity, buy here, sell there, they engage, and they make profit. And the profit goes into a social need. Now this is triple bottom line on steroids. Right? The village company macrocredit model is scalable and has the potential to reach the success like the Hanse cities 700 years ago. The rural population of Tanzania is 30 million. By breaking this downward spiral, we can help reduce the migration to the cities. We can help in food security and enable and empower them to alleviate themselves out of poverty. Small, successful towns, creating and building their destiny on dignity. That is the new big in Tanzania, and an idea worth spreading. Thank you very much.